Okay. Just before I started, OBS gave me a message saying that live streams were not available right now. But according to the chat room, you guys can hear me. Cool. Alright, yeah, you can't see me. That is by design, because the last two live streams, when I tried to allow you guys to see me, we ran into lag issues. So I am going to be speaking through my avatar for this one, and hopefully that'll solve any lag problems. And before I started, we had a message in the chat saying, asking about the Livestream channel. The Livestream channel is still a thing. It's just not monetized right now. I'm going to be streaming. The plan is to be streaming from the Livestream channel in the future. But until we get that one monetized, I'm going to continue doing it from this channel and then setting the live streams to private and then moving them to said live stream channel, assuming YouTube lets me. Last time I did a live stream, it wouldn't let me do that. We're still working on that one. So I don't know what that's about, but yeah. It seems to be... Yeah, guys, I'm sorry you can't see me. It's we've been having lag issues with the stream. I'm sorry. This just seems a less glitchy way to do it for the time being. Okay, let's just get a message out on Twitter. I always forget to do that. Okay. Click out of there. All right. It's been a minute. Yeah, I wanted to do this one sooner. I just I didn't have the time to do it. I hate Batwoman being on Wednesdays now. I hate it. It screws up my entire schedule. Nothing is coming out on time now. It conflicts with so many different things. Because it takes me a couple days to get the Batwoman videos made and uploaded and stuff. Like everything else gets pushed back a day. It conflicts with movie releases, so those are late. And now I've been wanting to do videos on Arcane and Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 2, and it conflicts with those. So it's a whole big thing. So I wanted to get this one out sooner to talk about Hawkeye. I'm sorry. This was the earliest I could do it. Like a week late, and now like the next episode is about to drop tonight, I think, at midnight or something. But pretty soon. So we're making it in just under the wire. I'd like to cover the whole season. Hopefully the future streams will be a little bit earlier. Alright, we seem to be... Okay, good. Everything seems to be working well at the moment. Once again, OBS was acting weird right before we started, so hopefully it stays that way. All right, welcome to Hawkeye. If you've been here before, you know how it works. I'm going to talk about the episodes. I'm going to give my thoughts. Get your super chats and comments in, and we'll cover those at the end. And so, yeah. All right. Hawkeye. You know what? Let me just click out of this so I can see everything. Chat room goes over here. All right. There we go. I'm always rushing to get everything ready at the last minute, so I'm always late on something. All right. Anyway, so first two episodes of Hawkeye. Excuse me. First two episodes came out last week. The third one drops, I believe, tonight. The trailers didn't look like anything super special. I think a lot of us were pretty wary about how Kate Bishop in particular was going to come across. Like, is this show just going to be the Kate Bishop show where she's getting validated left and right, demeaning Clint all the time and putting him in his place and all that crap? And you know, these Marvel Disney Plus shows have been very hit and miss so far. So I didn't go into this with a lot of confidence. And apparently the viewership has not been great compared to some of the other shows. But having watched it now, I have to say, I think I've found myself in the minority on this one. And a lot of that has to do with the story and a lot of that has to do with Kate Bishop. To me, Hawkeye is a Marvel show that came around at just the right time. Is after the summer of WandaVision, which got really different and experimental, which worked except when it didn't and had a lot of pacing issues. Falcon Winter Soldier, which had some good moments but became very annoyingly political and preachy. Loki, which I liked aside from the finale, which is a whole different can of worms. And that was definitely a creative departure in itself. There was What If, which just plain sucked. And then Eternals, which felt like Kevin Feige was really going against his better instincts, and that didn't really work out so well. After all that, here comes Hawkeye, and it kind of feels like a return to normalcy. There's no cosmic or multiverse stuff. The fate of the entire world is not at stake. It's not dour and depressing or emotionally exhausting. It's just, good old-fashioned Halloween-themed action comedy. And I'll be damned if that wasn't exactly what I was in the mood for. I thought these first 2 episodes were a big breath of fresh air because the jokes were funny. There were no identity politics, at least not yet. Well, maybe a little tiny bit. It's barely noticeable. And the thing I was most worried about, Kate Bishop, turned out to be one of my favorite things about it. In fact, the show kind of reminded me of Lethal Weapon with Clint in the Murtaugh role, because his whole thing when the movie begins, when the show begins, is that he's just absolutely done with the superhero shit. He's been trying to retire for like 5 movies, and now he's got years worth of PTSD, he's got hearing loss from all the injuries, and he keeps getting dragged back into it when all he wants to do is spend time with his family. So we meet him on vacation with his kids, and he gets dragged back into the action again when it's the last thing he wants to do, and then he gets stuck with Kate Bishop, which he really doesn't want either. And I thought it was going to be because Kate is some bestest ever Yas Queen Slayer, just some annoying ideologue who's putting him down all the time. But no, it's actually because she's just really earnest when he's not in the mood for any of this, and he keeps having to get her out of trouble. And what a surprise Kate Bishop was. I mean, I think the trailers did her a huge disservice, because a lot of people had made up their minds about her based on the trailer alone. And this was not the character I was expecting at all. Because she's not like that in the show, not really. Because since the MCU's been getting more political lately, I think we all expected her to be kind of intolerable. And from what little I know about the Kate Bishop in the comics, she's basically just a gender-swapped Clint with a less interesting backstory, and people are constantly saying how awesome she is. And if that was what this was going to be like, spare me. Okay, I can do without that. I already have to deal with Batwoman every week. But turns out it was the complete opposite. Kate Bishop in this show is talented and a great fighter and all that stuff, yeah, but she's also portrayed as someone who's in way over her head, is a little bit of a klutz, and is constantly screwing up. She's also very charming and funny, too, which I think is mainly due to Haley Steinfeld being really good at this acting thing. This character made a very good impression on me right from the jump. We meet her as a kid when her house is getting smashed during the Chitauri invasion, and she witnesses Clint being a badass and fighting off aliens. It's the moment when he jumps off the roof and is shooting arrows on his way down. Like she sees that from a different vantage point. She was inside her house, which got the side of it wrecked, and she's just sitting there as a kid, like watching him, doing cool shit and fighting aliens. And her father actually died in this attack. But she was inspired by Clint and took him as someone to model herself after. She just didn't really know how. So she takes up archery, she takes up martial arts and stuff, and she gets really good at it. And you can see that she's kind of primed to be a crime fighter, but the thought that she could actually fight crime hasn't really occurred to her yet, so she's got all these skills that she doesn't really know what to do with. So we meet her, like, in present day. she's pulling a prank at her school that goes horribly wrong. She climbs up onto a roof to shoot an arrow to ring the bell in the bell tower, but it's really old, and it's kind of run down, and she does hit the bell and it rings the bell, but then the bell kind of falls off and it destroys part of the building. And, she gets in trouble, naturally. And she doesn't even really intend to be a hero from the jump. She gets dragged into it. She's the person who has no direction in her life, doesn't know what she wants to do with herself. Then one night she accidentally overhears her mom getting threatened by someone, so she spies on this guy and accidentally gets caught up in a murder mystery plot that's somehow tied to Clint's time as Ronin, and now Clint has to get her out of trouble because he sees this as his responsibility to clean up. So right out of the gate, we learn that Kate Bishop idolizes Clint, views him as a big damn hero who inspired her, and she, for all her talents and skills, really doesn't know what the hell she's doing. So Clint gets the respect he deserves, and Kate is shown to be very much a work in progress. Okay, this is a version of Kate Bishop I can get on board with. And there's a moment that was in the trailer that perfectly encapsulates this, I think. It's the part where Kate tells Clint, some people call me the world's greatest archer. I know what everyone was thinking when they saw that part. I was thinking it too. She's just validating herself to show that she's better than Clint and blah, blah, blah. But in context, it's not like that at all. She just wants her hero to think she's cool. He immediately shuts her down, and then she's embarrassed. Like, some people call me the world's greatest archer. Are you one of those people? Oh, yeah, I might be one of those people. That's their dynamic. Clint is the seasoned pro who's been through too much shit and wants nothing more than to be done with it, and Kate is the plucky, excitable young rookie sidekick who doesn't know everything yet and is way too eager to please for her own good. So throughout the first 2 episodes, he's constantly having to show her how this hero thing works. Well, he's not really showing her, but she's kind of just observing and taking notes. Like, this is how you shake a tail. You did that first aid wrong. Here's how you do it right. She's not showing Clint up. Kate is the pro and Kate is the student. Clint is teaching Kate how to be a hero even when he really doesn't want to. And Kate is bringing Clint out of his shell and helping him get over his PTSD by showing him that this stuff can still be fun. He just forgot that. Of course, he had plenty of reasons for that, obviously. So there's no identity politics yet. These are actual characters. So that endeared the show to me very quickly. And then that kept going because I was really enjoying the comedy. This, I think, is easily the funniest Disney Plus show Marvel has done. On many of them, admittedly, the comedy hasn't worked out all that well. But this one, it works. One, because the actors are funny, and the dynamic between them feels very genuine. And 2, the writers are actually funny. I was laughing out loud at a lot of this stuff. Like when we first meet Clint, he's at a Broadway show with his kids, and it's a show about Captain America, where they took the "I can do this all day" line and turned it into a musical. And it's just like the scene in Batman Beyond, where the characters went to the Batman musical. A superstitious, cowardly lot. They plan and plot, but they always get caught. It's just like that. It's the same type of thing. I was cracking up. It's just a big joke. And Clint is sitting there watching this just mortified, like, you've got to be fucking kidding me with this. I was at that fight. It wasn't like that at all. Ant-Man wasn't even there, damn it. So he just can't stand this thing. So he gets out of there, goes to the bathroom, and finds "Thanos was right" written on the urinal. Guess that's a pretty apt place to put it. So Clint's PTSD keeps getting to him. They leave the show early. He has some fun with the kids. He's starting to feel better. And then he sees Kate Bishop on the news wearing the Ronin suit. And it's like, oh, Christ, I gotta go deal with this now. Ugh. Fine. God. So he puts the kids on a car headed for the airport, and he goes to work. So that's how this works. Kate gets into trouble. Clint gets her out of it. She gets into trouble again. He gets her out of it again. Then Clint gets himself captured so he can find the person who's behind all this. Kate thinks Clint's in trouble, tries to save him, but just screws up and gets captured herself. So by the end of these first 2 episodes, I actually really liked Kate Bishop. Because she was the antithesis of what I thought this character was going to be. She's a character who is starting at square one, where she's kind of got the tools, but has no idea how to use them or what to do with them yet. Like, she wants to do something, but has no direction. I was expecting just an aggravating ideologue, and turns out she's just a lovable, quirky screw-up. Like, she can handle herself in a fight, but she's not so much of a badass that she doesn't get beaten up herself. The first fight she gets into, she does well, acquits herself very well, but she's pretty quickly overwhelmed and has to escape. And I thought, wow, Kate actually feels like a person with flaws and quirks and things she needs to work on and stuff. What a novel concept. So you take these characters and you plug them into a story that feels pretty small scale compared to what the other shows were doing, but honestly, that's what I liked about it. I mean, after WandaVision and What If and Eternals and Loki and with all the multiversal, universal, galaxy-hopping stuff, it felt really nice to watch a back-to-basics action comedy with fun characters that just keeps it nice and simple. You know, it doesn't demand that much from the audience to enjoy it, you know, and it's nice to have like something like that once in a while, and it's continuing an Avengers development in a way that doesn't get annoying. You know, Clint's not spending forever and a day working on a boat or virtue signaling about how hard it is to get a loan or how black people are treated by the police or how politicians need to do better. Clint's just a guy who's trying to help somebody who's in trouble while dealing with the fact that his time in the hero game really messed him up. And also there's a pizza dog in there. There's no politics, no virtue signaling yet. It's just fun. And I liked it. And I assume everybody's seen the show by now, so I'll dispense with the long recap. I think these streams get too recappy sometimes anyway. But Kate's home from school, and she's taken some shit for the incident with the bell tower, but her mom managed to smooth everything over. And her mom owns a security firm or something, so her family's very well off. She gets dragged to some fundraiser or gala or something or other, where she finds out that her mom is engaged to a guy that Kate doesn't like. And she tries to sneak off because she's just not really wanting to deal with this, but accidentally overhears her mom getting threatened by the fiancé's uncle. So she follows this guy to spy on him to find out what the deal is, and she winds up sneaking into a secret auction downstairs from the gala, where she finds this guy and the fiancé bidding on black market items, one of which is the gear that Clint was using when he was Ronin. You know, the suit, there's a retractable sword that's totally not meant to be a lightsaber. Where did they get that stuff? I don't know. But they don't say where. Maybe they will later. Anyway, a group of mafia thugs break in, invade the auction. They're looking to make off with all the Ronin gear. And Kate really doesn't know what to do, but she can't be caught there. So in all the commotion, she grabs the Ronin suit, puts it on to disguise herself, and she tries to help the people there. And she tries to stop these dudes because she is a good fighter. They make that, they establish that. She's been training since she was 5. So she can't handle herself, but she quickly gets mistaken for Ronin, so she has to run for her life. So one thing kind of leads to another, and there's a picture of her that gets taken and winds up on the news, which is where Clint sees her wearing the suit that he would wear when he was waging his one-man war against crime during the 5 years after the snap. And he made a lot of enemies during that time, so now he figures, oh man, whoever that is just bought themselves a world of hurt. And because Ronin made himself a lot of enemies. So they've got a huge target on their back, whoever they are, so he realizes this is his mess. He's got to clean it up. So he cuts the vacation with the kids short, and he goes to take care of this. So Kate is looking for information on the guy who was threatening her mom. She sneaks into his house, and she finds his dead body there. So she has to run, lest she be blamed for this, but the mafia guys find her again. And she's cornered, she's basically done for, but Clint tracks her down, shows up just in time, saves her ass. He takes her back to the apartment, to her apartment rather. She's pretty sure she wasn't followed, but she was. So the thugs torch the place, throw Molotov cocktails through the window. Clint has to save Kate again, but the Ronin suit gets left behind in the chaos. So Kate's hiding out at her aunt's apartment now while Clint goes back for the suit, but the suit got snatched by one of the firemen who's part of this LARPing group. So Clint has to go to the park and take part in this dumb LARPing thing just to get the suit back, which is very ridiculous, intentionally ridiculous. But it's funny, and Clint almost seems to enjoy himself a little bit. So he stashes the suit in a gym locker somewhere, and now he just needs to tie up the loose ends with the mafia guys because they're still after Kate Bishop, and he needs to find out who the top dude is. So, meanwhile, Kate keeps annoying him with her fangirl stuff. Like, oh my god, the Hawkeye in my apartment. Stay cool, Kate, stay cool. Oh my god, I have a million questions. Can I have can you autograph my bow? You're my favorite Avenger. How do you make the trick arrows? Do you have a storehouse with weapons somewhere? Can we go there? Can I see you make the trick arrows? It's stuff like that. It's meant to be annoying, but not annoying to the audience. It's like a C-3PO Han Solo type of thing where the hero being annoyed is what makes it funny because we like the hero. And Kate isn't annoying herself. She's very charming despite all this. Again, Haley Steinfeld is very good. This was great casting. So you'd think this would be annoying on paper, but it's not because you can see it's coming from a good place. She's not annoying Clint on purpose or because she's trying to bring him down. Clint is a hero to Kate. In fact, he's a hero to a lot of people. Like throughout the 2 episodes, Clint gets recognized by people who treat him like a hero. You know, he's out at a restaurant with the kids and their dinner is on the house because he helped save the city. Clint's not being disrespected here, it's the opposite. You know, it is acknowledged that he has a branding issue and really goes under the radar compared to some of the other Avengers, but that's by design because he doesn't really want the attention. He doesn't, like, all he wants really is to spend time with his family and be home for Christmas with the kids and the wife, but now he's got to deal with all this mafia shit before Kate gets herself killed. And in the meantime, Kate's trying to convince her mom that the fiancé is up to something, but she's not. The mom is just not listening. Mom played by Vera Farmiga, by the way. That's a good thing. So she doesn't really know what to do, but Kate does find a clue that she needs to tell Clint about, but she can't really get a hold of him because Clint has been busy getting himself intentionally captured by the mafia thugs. You know, he's in complete control of the situation the whole time. He's not even nervous about the whole thing. He got out of the bindings and whatnot. He's really playing them. They're the ones who is nervous because Clint is a badass and they're just a bunch of idiots. But then Kate thinks he's in trouble, tracks him with his phone, and tries to help him, but screws it up and gets herself caught. And we do see the person who's presumably behind all this. I'm not sure if we're supposed to know who she is. I think she's Echo from the comics, but I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out in episode 3, I guess. I'm pretty sure she's Echo. Of course, the Echo solo series is already announced. That was a little premature, I think. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Echo. And that's where we leave off for now. And I know some people were not impressed with these 2 episodes, saying it's like pointless or boring or stupid or whatever, has no ambition. I don't get that. because I enjoyed these episodes. I mean, the show is like unintentionally humble, and isn't trying to reinvent the wheel or anything like WandaVision or Loki. It isn't telling some huge galaxy-hopping story like Eternals, but again, that's clearly by design. I think they're going for variety with this recent block of new Marvel content. And I think this show was intentionally made by design to bring in people who were tired of all that stuff and wanted to see something a little more traditional, a little more familiar, a little more old school. So that's why it worked, at least for me. It helps that it's Christmas themed, and I'm a sucker for a good Christmas story. But the characters are charming. Kate Bishop was way better than I expected. There's no politics. There's no heavy lifting story-wise. There's no mind-bending concepts that I really wasn't in the mood for after Eternals anyway. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's not going to break the mold or anything like that, but it's, not everything has to. Some things can be made just for fun. And this was fun. It's a fun, down-to-earth holiday adventure story with lots of comedy, and that's exactly what I was in the mood for. So, I think, again, I think I will find myself in the minority on this one, but I like these first two episodes. I wasn't expecting it to try to swing for the fences. You can't do that all the time. But and for what it was doing, I think this was a very solid base hit. Sorry about my voice, by the way. It's one of the reasons I don't do live streams that often, because my voice tends to be really unreliable. And bro, YouTube didn't give me any notifications. Yeah. Look, that's why I always say the best way to be notified about new videos and live streams and stuff is to follow me on Twitter. Because even if you subscribe, even if you ring the bell, which are things you should always do anyway, you're not necessarily going to get the notifications all the time. So follow my Twitter. Link should be in the description, I believe. Yes. Yeah, so click the link in the description, subscribe to me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, rather, because I always put up notifications about new videos and streams and stuff. Okay, a lot of people want to see my face. I never understand why. Yeah, I'm sorry you can't see my face. It's a lag issue, because when last two streams when I put my face up there, we had lag problems, and apparently that's less of a problem when I speak through the avatar. And I don't know, my computer's old or something. Okay. All right, let's see. Striker X24, thank you for the super chat. Renner reminds me of Dougray Scott, like he really doesn't want to be there. I feel bad for him. This should be like Daredevil, but with arrows. I don't get that. I don't get that impression from Renner. I think that's intentionally part of the character. He's just kind of grumpy and gruff because that's where the character is at mentally. He's been through a lot of shit. He's been through a lot of shit. He's got PTSD. His best friend died recently. I mean, he's allowed to be in a good mood. I mean, allowed to be in a bad mood, rather. Excuse me. So no, I really don't agree with that. I mean, with Dougray Scott, you could clearly see the dude was unhappy and didn't want to be there. Here, I think it's just a performance. And Striker X24 with another super chat. Thank you very much. Clint will die and Kate will try to avenge him. I guess it's possible. I don't see it being that type of story. And I don't see Clint dying in a lighthearted holiday-themed show like this. And they definitely didn't market it that way. Yeah, so I think if Clint were going to die, I don't think that the trailers would have been as they are. There would have been like a darker element to them. No, they marketed this as like a lighthearted action comedy romp. Not the kind of thing you do if your main character was going to die. So yeah, I guess it's technically possible, but I don't see it happening. Mr. Zod's Fandom Zone, thank you for the $2. Is it just me, or I get Die Hard vibes, which works? No, I got that too. You know, this Die Hard is technically a Christmas movie. You know, Die Hard, had comedy in it. I get the comparison. To me, it was more like Lethal Weapon. But yeah, Die Hard, that works too. Definitely. Okay. Backtracking a little bit. All right, let's see what everyone else is saying about this. Kind of unrelated, but did you ever watch any of the recent Star Wars shows like Mandalorian or Clone Wars Season 7? If so, what do you think? I have not seen The Mandalorian yet. I was excited to see Clone Wars Season 7, but haven't seen that either. Honestly, I haven't watched much of any Star Wars content since the sequel trilogy finished up, because the sequel trilogy kind of broke me. I think about returning to Star Wars, and I don't know. I haven't been able to make that jump yet. I would like to watch Clone Wars Season 7 at some point. Every time I think about it, you know what? I'm not ready to go back. Yeah, I don't know. The sequel trilogy, that's how the sequel trilogy turned out, that still hurts. I haven't been able to do it yet. Yeah, do Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 2, it's beyond horrible. Yeah, wow. Part 2, yeah, that was not good. Oy. I thought there was room, after Part 1, Part 1 had a lot of problems, but I thought there was room for them to walk back on a lot of those problems with Part 2, and yeah, they went another way. Oy. I took a lot of notes about that one. I haven't found the time or the space in my schedule to make the video. Because everything was releasing so close to each other. There was Batwoman, there was there were movies, there was Arcane, there was Revelation. It all kind of there was also Wheel of Time. Everything kind of released all around the same time, and it's like, oh god, it's all clogged up. I don't have time to do everything. I don't know which one I should do first. It's I've got a little space in the schedule now that Batwoman's on hiatus until January. So now I can focus on that one. I think I'm probably gonna do Arcane next, or at least I'm gonna try to. But yeah, Revelation Part 2. I want to do a video on that, definitely. What happened to reviewing Chucky? Oy. Chucky, honestly, the first episode really pissed me off. Hence why I'm doing this live stream on the same night as the finale. I believe the finale starts in like 25 minutes. I'm gonna check it out later. But the first one pissed me off so much. I'm like, you know what? Do I even need to cover this? I don't really want to. But yeah, Chucky, I do not get the good reviews for that show at all. That show is bad. The story is so weak. The acting is terrible. There are no scares at all. I mean, really, like the only good things about it are Fiona Dourif and the scenes with Andy and Kyle, like the legacy characters. Not counting Jennifer Tilly, she's also horrible, but just Andy, Kyle, and Nika, because Fiona Dourif is great. Other than that, this show is a complete. It's terrible, absolutely terrible. And welcome to the Kate Bishop Show, everyone. Well, I mean, that is the character that's going to be continuing on after this show. I mean, they do have to give her, a fair amount of focus here. It's just how, like, Yelena was a big part of the Black Widow movie. Because, yeah, it's Natasha in the spotlight, but, I mean, Natasha's finishing up here, and Yelena's the character we're going to be rolling with in the future. So, we can't just ignore her. Presumably, this is how Clint is finishing his run in the MCU. We might see him later on. We don't know, but, Kate Bishop has more miles in front of her than Clint does as a character right now. So we kind of have to establish her in her own right. I only watched the show after I found out that Kate Bishop named herself Hawkeye. She actually didn't. She may have done that in the comics, I don't know, but she has not done that in the show. Yeah, she looks up to Clint. Clint is she sees him as a hero to her, but she has not named herself Hawkeye. Are you going to review the Flash Armageddon crossover? Most likely not. It's not. I don't see it as an official crossover because it's all taking place on the Flash. So it's basically a Flash story guest starring the other characters. Also, with the way the schedule works now, I wouldn't have time for anything else. And also, Batwoman's time slot change has thrown a huge monkey wrench into everything. So it really wouldn't work out, unfortunately. And honestly, Batwoman's been stressing me out so much. I don't think I could handle talking about the Flash on top of that. I really don't. Plan on reviewing the rest of Stargirl. I probably not. I intentionally wanted to focus on other stuff. One, because the views on those videos weren't amazing, and also I think I said it in the last one I did. Like, the show really wasn't making for good review fodder, because there wasn't really much to dissect. It's like, okay, yeah, a couple of nitpicks here and there, but overall I'm enjoying it. There wasn't too much to review. Just outside of a nitpick here and there. So, it was kind of leaving me with not much to say. So I thought it would be better to focus on something else. So that's one of the reasons why I switched to What If, which made for much better review fodder, let me tell you. It would be cool if Kingpin showed up at the end of the show. That would be cool. I would love to see Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin come back. Of course, the last time we saw him, he was getting sent to prison. Again. But, they could pull some multiverse stuff. Like, maybe the Netflix... The Netflix shows were all, like, some parallel... one of the parallel universes. And, in the official MCU, all those characters are in there. They're just different versions of them, maybe. I could see that happening. But yeah, if we could bring Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin back, that'd be awesome. I don't believe you. How could Disney just suddenly learn to write a functional female character? Hey, dude, I was skeptical too, but I was very pleasantly surprised by the amount of times Kate Bishop screwed up here. Yeah, I was. Honestly, it made her very endearing, I thought. I'd like to see a female character who doesn't have it all figured out. I mean, she's definitely talented and good at stuff. She just doesn't really know what to do with herself, and is a complete noob when it comes to the crime fighting thing. So she doesn't really know how to do this or that, and she's taking many notes from Clint. This is just the last place he want to be. Clint has a genuine dad complex, which is ironic because he can't be with his own kids. Yeah. Are you going to review Netflix's Arcane? That's the plan. That's the one I want to do next. It would be a little bit late to do like a normal review, so I'm trying to find a new angle to approach the video from. I've got kind of an idea. I haven't sat down to write the script yet. See, I hear that cough. I have a URI too. No fun. Yeah. I have chronic allergies. Have had for years. So my throat is kind of perpetually phlegmy and scratchy. It's like that all the time. You guys may have noticed in the Batwoman reviews, I tend to sound like I'm losing my voice toward the end of it. That's because those things take several hours to record. And after I've been talking for, 2, 3, 4 hours, my voice is just gone. So it's kind of it's usually a struggle to get through those. And because I'll start around 8 p.m. after it gets quiet. And, I'll go and I'll go for like half an hour, then stop, rest my voice for a little bit, go for another half hour, rest my voice, go again, and before you know it, the sun's coming up. And then I have to cut some... So you would be surprised how much footage I wind up with for your typical Batwoman review. And I'm talking like 3+ hours of footage, most of which is outtakes. Because I blow a lot of takes, but yeah, my voice is kind of destroyed by the end of it, usually. You could see how good of a father Clint was by the way his kids instantly knew there was a problem when he left the play and didn't return. Well, I would think when your dad is an Avenger, you kind of learn to anticipate things like that. Oh, wait, Dad's acting cagey? Oh, crap, something's gone wrong. He's probably, schooled them on how to act in situations like that. Things are getting weird. Okay, hit the floor. No fucking around. Just, let's tend to be serious here. Leave the play, find Dad, find out what's going on. Yeah. I'm not liking Hawkeye so far. They treat Kate Bishop like she's better than Clint. How? Kate is screwing up constantly. Clint is the one who's in control of the situation. Clint is the one who knows what he needs to do. He's the one who knows how to find all like the bad guys who are behind this whole thing. He's the one who is kind of guiding Kate through all this situation. Kate's the one who's asking questions. How do you do this? How do you do that? Then she's the one who screws up in the end. He intentionally gets himself captured just so he can, the mafia thugs will lead him to the person who's behind all this. Kate screws up by thinking he's in trouble, tries to rescue him when he doesn't need to be rescued, and gets herself caught. How are they treating Kate like she's better than Clint? If anything, it's the exact opposite. Avengers the musical. I would love that. Yeah. Yeah, it's well done too. That scene. It was just like the one in Batman Beyond. It was really funny. I want to rewatch Batman Beyond now. The musical was hard on me. It was embarrassing. Dude, it was supposed to be embarrassing. That's the point. Anyone think the dad is secretly still alive? Well, they had a funeral for him. Unless he could fake being a corpse, I think he's pretty dead. I mean, could have been a closed casket, maybe. I'm not sure what purpose there would be in bringing him back. I guess they could. If the purpose is to kind of install Clint as Kate's de facto father figure, maybe. Not sure. Guess we can't rule it out completely, but I doubt it. Will Black Widow's sister show up here? Well, we do know she's on a collision course with Clint at some point. It might not happen in this show. But I assume Yelena's going to get her own show sooner or later. Because they're building up something. With Yelena and... what's his name? U.S. agent, working for Madame Hydra, or working for or Elaine. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, that character. Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, that's her name. Yeah, they're both working for her now, so they're building something with that storyline. They might get their own show, maybe. I don't know if Yelena's going to show up in this one. It doesn't seem like the place for it. But you never know. I like that in the first fight, Kate has to use her head because she just can't get over the power of... She just can't overpower men twice her size like some other show. Yeah, I noticed that too. Like she was trying to fight them, but it's close quarters, and these guys are a lot bigger than her, so she's getting slammed into the wall and stuff, and she's quicker and she knows how to fight, but there's only so much you can do with limited space with people who are much bigger and heavier than you are. It's going to limit your options. So I like that she's a good fighter, but she also has limits. I was impressed that the first episode title sequence handled as a montage her years of training and achievements without wasting our time. Looks like each episode may have a new version of the opening credits. Yeah. Yeah. And I like how it's clearly modeled after like the aesthetic of I think it was Matt Fraction's run on Hawkeye. I didn't read that book, but I know a lot of other people like it. It's pretty highly regarded. So I think Matt Fraction was kind of like consulting on the show, I believe. So that's probably a good thing. Getting Kate Kane vibes from this storyline. Really? I don't get that at all. I don't. You're gonna have to explain the logic to me on that one. I don't get that. In regard to your Batwoman schedule, I would suggest you do whatever works best for the rest of your video production, even if it means Batwoman waits. I only watch your videos. Not Batwoman. Well, that's tricky because, as much as I complain about Batwoman, those videos are kind of a reliable source of views, and they are admittedly what helped get my channel to the next level at a time when it was kind of struggling, because I had that initial influx, that initial big influx of new subs when the channel finally got noticed, and after that there was kind of a lull, and I was waiting around and just trying to find something else that really caught on, and that something was the Batwoman reviews, and people really tuned in for those. So I kept making them. It would have been stupid of me not to. And now it's kind of what people know me for. So, I do have to make rent. I do have bills to pay. And, Batwoman still, is still a reliable source of views. I can make one of those, and it's still a pretty safe bet that I'll get 20,000 views on one of those things. So, as much as I hate the show, it is kind of a necessary evil for me to continue making videos about it. So I kind of have to prioritize those, unfortunately. Even though I would love to stop and focus on other stuff. Because, like I said, the new time slot is so awkward. Because when it was on Sundays, I could spend Monday, Tuesday working on those things, have it uploaded on Wednesday, have a day to recover, and then I could see the new movie release on on a Thursday night screening and have that video up by Saturday. Now I can't really do that anymore. So the movie reviews are coming out on Monday now, which I'm sure is hurting the viewership a little bit, at least a little bit. And it also conflicts with other stuff because Netflix tends to release things on Fridays, I believe. It has a lot of releases on Friday, not all of them, but some. So it conflicts with everything. So it is very awkward here, but it doesn't mean I can just slack off on the Batwoman reviews, because that's what kind of pays my rent still. I thought they said the suit was in the Avengers compound. Oh, right. I'm sorry. I watched the episode a couple days ago. I'm sorry. So glad I'm not the only one that really enjoys the show. Very well done. Okay, cool. So I'm not alone in this. When does episode 3 release? I believe on Wednesday. Might be midnight tonight, I think. Now I hear praise for Kate. Guess it's not Batwoman. No, we're talking about Kate Bishop here. Not the Kate Bishop from the comics, the Kate Bishop from the TV show, which, as I understand, is different from the one in the comics. Yeah, quite a few differences. Let's see. No matter what you think about the show, you have to admit Barton LARPing was absolutely hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. I actually enjoyed the show. I had zero expectations and didn't watch any of the trailers. Yeah, the trailers were not a good representation of the show, honestly. A lot of people got the wrong impression about Kate Bishop from the trailers, which definitely did not help. I think whoever's making these things needs to be more cognizant of how things like that are perceived, because just with the way the environment is in the culture right now, you get a trailer like that, people are going to be put off by a character that looks like Kate because they're going to have they're going to expect her to be a certain way, and then they're going to be put off by the show and probably not watch just by the trailer. You got to be very careful about stuff like that as perceived by the audience, and I don't think they understand that. I enjoyed it a lot. I think they introduced Kate in a feasible way. I liked it better than Loki. Okay. Yeah, I know. A lot of people didn't like Loki. I enjoyed Loki. I know I was. I know I was in the minority on that one. Okay, the finale definitely had issues. I think that was kind of self-indulgent on their part, but I saw what they were going for. And overall, I enjoyed Loki. I know a lot of people didn't though, and that might be just different strokes for different folks. This I see is kind of like not an antidote. That's not the right word, but it's kind of like an answer to people who were asking for a return to normalcy. Will you watch the new Resident Evil movie? Haven't had a chance to see it yet. I didn't even know it was. Is it even out yet? I don't know. Anyway, I heard it was bombing. So. Nah. I never really played the games, so I don't really have much of a desire to see it. Yeah. I might have seen it to review it, but I got too much other stuff to do. I really need to get to work on that on Arcane and Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 2. So I want to get those done. I was surprised I liked it as well. Respect for the main character, down-to-earth characters act like I would expect. Yeah, refreshing, isn't it? Kind of sad how that seems to be a rarity these days. And a whole bunch of new comments. Started all at once. Holy moly, I missed. Where are we? Alright, here we go. Sometimes you don't need an over-the-top, grandiose story to thrill. Sometimes a nice aftermath story is just as fun. Thanks for speaking out like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like Spider-Man Homecoming. Where we just got done with like Avengers and was it? Or was it? I don't know. It was one of them. Like you just got done with like the big Avengers the big epic Avengers thing, and afterward you're kind of exhausted, and you're just looking to have some laughs. And then here comes Spider-Man, which is pretty much a comedy, well, like 80% comedy, and it's a nice breather to kind of refresh yourself. I kind of see it in that sense. What are the things you liked about the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy? Oh, God. Well, certain things, yeah. I mean, J.K. Simmons as Jameson. I didn't like how Jameson was basically portrayed as a cartoon character, but that's just the style those movies were going for. I mean, J.K. Simmons is great, but that's because, but not really because of the movie. It's because J.K. Simmons is great in everything. I mean, for the most part, I think the casting was. I think that the casting wasn't necessarily the problem. I mean, if you put that cast in a different Spider-Man movie, you'd probably get something good or get something I enjoyed more. But the movie just seemed geared to get like generally bad performances out of everybody. Again, that's just going back to the scripts just being really bad in my opinion. I mean, and I think Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane could have worked because Kirsten Dunst is generally a very good actor. I mean, she's good in most things, but as that version of that character in that movie, it didn't work. I mean, I've said this many times. You could have put Meryl Streep in that role, and she wouldn't have been able to sell some of the dialogue they gave that character. It was. But you know, the casting of Doc Ock, that worked. Casting of Green Goblin, that worked. I would have gone in a different direction with it, but hey, yeah, there are some good elements in there. I just didn't like the movies they produced. All right, let's see. Oh boy, Jose M. Tapia 711. Oh, I butchered that one. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the super chat. Kate and her mom, what do you think they want from each other, and how can Clint brand himself if he chooses to? Jack feels like a cartoon character. All right. I think it's a little too soon to tell. What do you think they want from each other? I think her mom just wants Kate to sort her shit out. And weirdly, I think Kate kind of wants the same thing. Because I think the mom views Kate as someone who's kind of screwing up a little bit and needs to get her act together, and Kate sees her mom as someone who can't see that her fiancé is evil. I think they both kind of want the same things from each other. They just can't get on the same page. How can Clint brand himself if he chooses to? I don't think he will choose to. It just doesn't seem to be what he wants. He doesn't seem like a guy who wants the attention. He was just doing good because good needed to be done. I don't think the attention or the branding, if you will, it doesn't seem to be what he wants or something he cares about. I hate Wheel of Time. I gave up after the first episode. You know, that show is leaving me cold right now. I don't know if it's because I haven't read the books or what, but man, I'm 4 episodes in. I'm having a lot of trouble getting into that show. I might watch a couple more just to see if it changes, but it's rough going right now. Yellow Lantern, thank you for the super chat. Hey man, treat yourself to your favorite movie. That'd be nice. I got too much other stuff to do, dude. Okay. Did you like the rest of Stargirl Season 2? Yeah. Yeah, I think the finale was not as strong as the Season 1 finale. I think they got a little too ahead of themselves. They had too many subplots and too many characters and didn't really know what to do with them all. So the finale felt very crowded. They just didn't have enough time to properly cover everything. You got Crusher and Tigress, or Sportsmaster and Tigress, just showing up at the end and not really doing anything, and then they've just moved in next door. Aren't you wanted criminal? Aren't you wanted by the authorities? How are you doing this? And they have the tease of Starman showing up. They tease that in the premiere, and then he's off screen for the entire season. Shows up at the end. And he's like, hey, wait, isn't he supposed to be dead? Yeah, but he says he'll explain that later. Dude, explain it now. We've been waiting all season for this. What the hell? And there was a lot of stuff like that. It's just it was too busy. It had too much stuff going on. Whereas I think the Season 1 finale was much tighter and more compact. This one was just a little too complicated, I think. So hopefully in Season 3 they'll streamline it. Okay. Where are we going here? Why do they need to replace all the legacy characters? Don't you see a creative problem with that? They literally have no fish idea? Fresh? I guess you mean fresh ideas. Well, for one thing, the actors are going to age out of these parts at some point. Also, it's not like they're replacing them with randos. I mean, these are all characters from the comics. Kate Bishop is a character in the comics. Yelena Belova is a character in the comics. But at some point, Renner's not going to be able to do action anymore. Scarlet's not going to be able to do action anymore. So they're gonna bow out. And once they're gone, what do? Introduce new characters. I understand the desire to want these characters to stick around, but it's just not realistic. I get it. I wish Robert Downey Jr. could still play Iron Man, but he was done. He wanted to leave. And so when that character is gone, someone's got to take their place, because the actors can't just stick around forever. What do you think of X-Men 97 coming out? Oh boy. On paper, the idea is exciting, but then I think about how Marvel's animated projects have not turned out very well. What If I thought was garbage, and the more I think about it, the more I think there's potential for them to completely ruin of X-Men the Animated Series, which I loved and continue to love to this day. And if they ruin that show with their current day politics, that's going to be heartbreaking. And I think that Star Wars girl did a video about this where she's talking about, I guess, like one of the people working on the show is some woke asshole. And I haven't seen the video, but yeah, I guess she pretty much said there's no hope for this show, which really breaks my heart. It's going to be rough if that doesn't turn out well. Like the Stargirl reviews, it was nice seeing you review something you didn't despise. you should check out the playlist on the channel, because like I got a whole playlist of stuff that I recommend. It's all things that I really enjoyed. You should check that one out. Review the Home Alone reboot. Oh, please! I don't even need to watch that one to know it's going to turn out like crap. I think Alex Myers reviewed that one, or he did a video on it. He said it was like worse. I don't know. I haven't seen the video, but yeah, he was not a fan. So people watching Cloak and Dagger on Hulu. I never actually finished Cloak and Dagger season 2. It wasn't terrible. Very different from the comics. Bill Paulson, thank you for the super chat. I've been watching your reviews and liking them for a while. Thank you for the laughs, and thank you for turning on captions for your vids. I didn't even realize I'd done that. Huh. Well, you're welcome. Not even sure how that happened, but if you like it, great. Let's see. Not gonna lie, I hate Kate Bishop in this show. Her consequence for destroying a bell tower is no credit cards. Well, for a rich person, that is a pretty big punishment. I don't know. I guess it's a class thing, but yeah. I mean, if you're a wealthy person, getting your credit cards taken away, that's like losing a limb, probably, because that's just the way those people live. I assume her mom had to make a very hefty donation to the school to keep Kate from getting expelled. But yeah, I mean that's just like welcome to the life of the obscenely wealthy. That's just how they live, I guess. We got another super chat. Hang on. Oh my God, I'm gonna butcher this one. Casparius. I'm not sure. I'm so sorry if I got that wrong. Thank you for the super chat. Thanks for watching Batwoman, so I don't have to. Oh, you're very welcome. It's very stressful. But it's a necessary evil that I'll have to continue doing for the foreseeable future. Because right now I'm still at a point where I kind of need the Batwoman videos just to make rent. Yeah. Maybe someday I'll be able to cover my expenses without covering Batwoman. Still not even doing that now, but yeah. Maybe someday. Have you been catching up on Young Justice? Yeah, the new Young Justice season kind of snuck up on us, didn't it? I've been wondering when that was going to happen for quite a while, and then it just appeared on HBO Max with no promotion. I was like, well, how did I miss this? Holy shit. I'm liking it. It is very. There is a definite tonal shift. Like you can tell, like they're. How do I say this? Like in the first season, it was very like action adventure oriented, and like every season, it's like gotten a little bit. Not darker exactly, but it's like the show is aging with the audience, or growing up with the audience. So they're trying to make it a little bit more mature, a little bit more complex each time. And now it's not so much about adventure. They're doing like complex stories about like a murder mystery on Mars, examining like the socio-political landscape of the Martians, and getting into like the real psychological complexities of how Crusher really screwed up his two daughters, and Jade dealing with her trauma of being raised by a supervillain and how that impacts the decisions she's made in regards to her own daughter and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, this was just a superhero show at first. How did we get here? You know, so I'm liking it. This season isn't grabbing me as much as Outsiders did, because I mean the first story arc, the one on Mars, didn't really scratch me where I itch, because I kind of suspected something bad was coming, because like the first 3 episodes was like so much of Connor and McGann just being super excited about the wedding, and they can't wait to get married, and they're so in love, and like I'm not here for this. Get to the adventure stuff, And I knew they were setting us up for something. All the clues were there. I did not expect them to actually go through with it, to do what they did. It's no spoilers if you haven't seen it, but holy moly. That got dark. The current story arc with Jade and Artemis and stuff, I'm liking that more. And I like how they're like explaining the origins of Cassandra Cain and stuff that I didn't think was ever going to be explored that much, but they're going there now. So I'm liking it. I think I preferred Outsiders, but Phantoms is interesting. I just thought the voice was lost due to all the screaming. Well, that doesn't help. No, I pretty much. It doesn't take much for me to lose my voice, and it's just very scratchy in general because of the allergies. Not a whole lot I can do about that. I've been to tons of doctors over the years. There really isn't anything they can do, or at least there wasn't the last time I saw one. Max Stone, thank you for the $5. I just hope Clint makes it out of this series alive so he can be with his family in the end. I highly, highly doubt they would do this show just to kill him off. I mean, if they were going to kill Clint, I really don't think it would be in a lighthearted action comedy set at Christmas time. And that would be one hell of a downer to go into the holidays on. I mean, I don't see it happening. I mean, maybe. I'm not ruling out Clint dying, but I don't think I really don't think it'll be in this show. Plus, I don't think that's his arc. With Natasha, her dying made sense. With Tony, him dying made sense. With Clint, he's just a guy who's trying to retire, and so he can be with his family. I don't think killing him off necessarily works for the character, because it doesn't make sense in every case. Let's see. The birth of Sandman was pretty great in the Raimi movies. It was directed well. I'll give you that one. It was directed well. I think story-wise, it was kind of cartoonish. Like, he just stumbles onto what the hell was it? Like a facility where they like genetically meld one thing into another. Or there's something, I don't remember what it was. I haven't seen it since it was in theaters. It was directed well, I'll give you that. I did not care for how it was written. Okay. I'm stoked and sad for the last season of The Expanse. Yeah, I really need to get caught up on The Expanse. I haven't seen it since it moved to Amazon. I've been meaning to watch it. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and do it. The good thing about The Expanse ending now is I believe that's the point where the story in the books kind of ends, and the books keep going, but I think there's like a very significant time jump, and it picks up the story like decades later. So the show is ending at a really good stopping point, because I expect like they're going to have like a really good amount of closure there. Clint won't die in an I'll Be Home for Christmas series. Yeah. Okay. Supergirl ended. Yeah, I heard the finale of Supergirl got like incredibly woke too. I've heard a couple things about it. I heard it sucked, which does not surprise me. It's probably still stuck on Supergirl season 1. Yeah, I have not watched Supergirl past season 1. I was watching those episodes as I was reviewing them. I had to stop doing those videos because they kept getting claimed, and it was just a gigantic hassle to have to keep re-editing them over and over just to get the claims to avoid them avoid the copyright bots and stuff. And it was just eventually it was just not a good use of my time anymore, because I would spend weeks making one video and then it would just get claimed immediately. So I had to kind of shift focus for practicality reasons. I do appreciate that people still love those videos, because I'm pretty proud of those, and they are what got the channel noticed originally. I just continuing to make them the same way was just becoming more difficult than it was worth. What's up with the dog? The dog is from the comics, which again I have not read, but there was a dog. Lucky the Pizza Dog, I believe, he was called, because I think it was the Matt Fraction Hawkeye book, which is basically I guess what Clint did on his days off from the Avengers. So he would get into like street level adventures with Kate Bishop in that series, and there was a dog. I don't know if it was Clint's dog or Kate's dog, but there was a dog in there. So that's where that comes from. The LARP scene shows what a good guy Clint is. He hates it, but he goes along with it to make the guy's day. Yeah. Good to meet you too, Grills. Hey, fist bump. And Clint almost kind of enjoyed it. He doesn't show it yet, but he almost had fun doing that. Clint's a good dude. Clint seems more grumpy than in the MCU movies, which makes Kate seem more annoying than she actually is. Well, bear in mind, this is post-Avengers Endgame. And it feels weird that I have to keep stressing this. Clint has years of PTSD. He has nagging injuries from his time in the Avengers. He has hearing loss to the point where he needs a hearing aid. He's mostly deaf. He spent 5 years dealing with the loss of his entire family, where he became a crime fighter who used lethal force. He murdered many people because he was in such a dark place. He may have come out of that, but it doesn't mean that stuff just goes away. Also, his best friend died. Clint is allowed to be in a bad mood. He's allowed to be a little bit grumpy. I think that's part of the story, is that he's seen so much shit and he's not in a good mood. He's not in the mood to deal with someone like Kate Bishop, but she's in his life anyway now, and he's got to deal with it. That's part of the story. Do you watch the Chucky TV show on TV? Yeah. Yeah, I did a stream on the first episode, and I've been talking about it on Twitter every week. I guess I'm going to watch it tonight after I'm done with this. I believe the finale is on tonight, and Andy has finally shown up. Previously, he was just we were seeing him for like one scene an episode for like the last 2 weeks, but he's finally on the board. He just arrived in Hackensack, so we wait the entire season, and now Andy is finally about to interact with Chucky, which is... I don't know what the hell they were waiting for. And there is a bug in my water. Hang on. 1 second. There's a bug. I gotta go wash this thing out. Holy shit. Get out of there, you little bastard. So annoying. You wouldn't think there'd be bugs in November. I'm still seeing gnats around my apartment for some reason. Did you upload the Chucky review to the Livestream channel? You know, I was going to, but YouTube will not let me download it. I've talked to the Team YouTube people on YouTube. They gave, some instructions. I followed them. It still didn't work. So that's something we're working on right now. Because I can't leave the live streams public because they kill my analytics. So I'm going to continue working on it. And as soon as I figure it out, any live streams that haven't been uploaded to the live stream channel will be put on there. But once I get done with this, the stream is being set to private because I can't have it be public. So this will be private. Excuse me. The Chucky live stream for episode 1, that's on private. Once I figure out how to put them on the live streaming channel, I'll do that, and then they'll be public for anyone to go back and watch, if you're so inclined. You planning on turning your focus to reviewing Chucky? Not really. I have too many other videos I want to make. Kind of feel like I vented my spleen about Chucky enough in that first stream. Plus, I've been covering it on Twitter. I think anyone who follows me on Twitter kind of knows how I feel about that show. Okay, hold on a second. Susan Dolan, thank you for the $5. Clint has teamed with Daredevil, who lifts his mask so Clint can lip read. Excuse me, I can't talk tonight. Clint, I guess, is totally deaf in the comics. I haven't read any since 1985. Yeah, I'm not sure when that became a thing in the comics. You wouldn't think that would be part of his character when there's any number of characters who have healing powers, and I would think a dude who interacts with Doctor Strange sometimes, you wouldn't think that would be an issue. Like, wouldn't Strange be able to heal him with magic or something? I mean, the X-Men have tons of characters with healing powers. Clint can't pay a trip to the island to get his hearing fixed. Like, there's no one with healing powers he can talk to. It's very strange that's a thing. Now, in the MCU, okay, it works. I find it a little difficult to imagine that between Stark Industries and Wakanda, like, no one's got the technology to fix his hearing. Maybe they can give him a fancy hearing aid or something, but I don't know. It's a little weird. Trato Trays. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Thank you for the $10. With Batwoman on hiatus, will you resume the Supergirl reviews? They're how I discovered your channel. You could change the format to match the Batwoman format, maybe. Yeah, people always ask me about that. A format change would be necessary. I don't know. I'd be hesitant to change them that much just because that's how people remember them. I guess it's always an option on the table. I'd have to figure out how to. I'd have to figure out how to do it exactly. I don't think if I were to do it, it wouldn't be doing them the way I do the Batwoman reviews. Because I think that format works with more recent stuff, like stuff that just came out. But with stuff like Supergirl Season 1, that's what is that, 8 years old at this point? I don't know. I think you need to do a little bit more to kind of grab people's interest, which is why I made them that way. Also, I was very new to this at the time, and I was kind of inspired by SF Debris videos. And I was kind of because that's kind of what I wanted to do when I started this. I thought I really like SF Debris stuff. I could make reviews like him. That'd be fun. That's kind of what I was using for inspiration. I think they turned out well. There was the copyright stuff, but yeah, if I were to go back to them, I think they'd have to change. I don't think I would change them to the Batwoman format, though. I think if you're reviewing older stuff, you kind of need to add a few more bells and whistles to it to grab people's attention. Oh boy, where was I? Okay. I'm guessing having Kate lose her credit cards in the first episode was a plot device to explain why she couldn't just Bruce Wayne her way out of every situation. Well, yeah, that's part of it. There was even a line in there. She said, she said, I'd offer to get you a hotel room, but Mom took away my credit cards, so I guess we're stuck with hiding out in my aunt's apartment. That's part of it. You can't give them too many advantages because, they're the good guys. They kind of need to have their backs against the wall because that's more interesting. Strong female characters are amazing. They just have to be written properly. Agreed. I think the best way to start with that is to not write them as strong female characters and just write them instead as strong characters. I think once you add the female to it, you've made things political when they don't need to be. I didn't see a lot of wokeness in the first 2 episodes. As skilled as Kate is, she's naive, and it shows in amateur mistakes she makes leading to Hawkeye bailing her out of trouble. Yeah, exactly. I had the same impression. Wow. James B. with a $19.99 super chat. No question or comment, but a GIF. I'm not even sure what that is. Some kind of anthropomorphic peach with a leaf for hair or something. Very cute. Thank you for the GIF, James B. Thank you for the super chat. That's very generous. Thank you guys so much. I don't like begging for super chats. I say, hey, super chat if you want, but if you don't, there's no No pressure. I don't ask for them, but I really do appreciate when that happens. I really do. Excuse me. Wow. I wasn't expecting you to actually read and respond to my comment. Thank you. That made my night. I'm glad I could do that for you. What do you think about the news that the Snyderverse is possibly coming back and Zack Snyder is doing an adaptation of Final Crisis? I'll believe that when I see it. I don't see it happening. Snyder, I mean, anything's possible, I guess, but Snyder seemed to want to move on, and he seems to be having fun with that, his army movies. Army of the Dead, what was it, Army of Thieves? I don't know. Whatever he's doing now. Seemed like he kind of wanted to move on. Can't blame him for that, I guess. Kate seems kind of helpless, which is a lot different than many of the other hero women who seem to be able to beat everything they come across without effort. Yeah, and I think, and that makes her a lot more relatable, doesn't it? She's not... Well, helpless isn't the right word. I think she's very capable. She's just in over her head and is very new to this life, and she's got to learn the ropes. Doesn't mean she can't do it. She's just, she just got to learn from somebody who's actually been doing this. I prefer season 1 and 2 of Young Justice. Yeah, I get that. I get it. I mean, there are things about the first 2 seasons I prefer too. I mean, by comparison, Outsiders was definitely, a shift in tone. I liked it for what it was. I mean, if you put a gun to my head, I think I probably preferred seasons 1 and 2. There are things that I appreciate Outsiders just in different ways, and I think Phantoms has taken a little longer to get moving, but I'm there for the duration, so we'll see where it goes. But what I meant was, why don't they just introduce new characters? They're literally naming these new characters the same names as the legacy characters. They aren't new characters. They're literally the same characters, just woke versions. I'm not sure what you mean. Like, do you mean like brand new characters who weren't in the comics, or characters who were in the comics but just have their own identities? Well, that's fair, I guess. I think part of it is brand recognition. Like, if you introduce... How do I say this? I guess if you introduce Kate Bishop as a totally new character, I don't know, color Archerina or something, I don't fucking know. As a brand new character with a brand new identity, it's going to be harder to get fans on board with that. But if you introduce a brand new character named Hawkeye and introduce her as like a Hawkeye legacy character, people know who Hawkeye is. They know who Clint Barton is. So they're going to be inclined to at least pay attention to this for a little bit. They might reject the character, but they're going to be more inclined to notice if it's a legacy character, because of the brand recognition. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But a lot of it I think is just branding in business and stuff. Okay. Did you hear that Nick Cage is going to be Dracula? Yeah, I heard about that just a few minutes before I started the stream. Nick Cage is Dracula. Wow, that could either be insanely awesome or really dumb. I don't know if there's a lot of middle ground in that one. I mean, if it's going to be a dark comedy, I could see that working really well. Because I do love me some batshit insane Nick Cage performances. Okay. Now, Black Widow wasn't even a quote unquote best friend. She was basically family. She was Auntie Nat. Yeah. Yeah, like, Clint is allowed to be upset about that. I mean, I see, people, complaining about Clint's too grumpy. He's not like he was in the movies. Well, yeah, the movies are in the rear view now. Clint has been through a lot of shit. He's lost people he loves. He is allowed to be in a bad mood. Ah, damn gnats. Not Black Widow. I mean the gnats floating around my head right now. The bugs. I just found your videos through Batwoman and they're amazing. Not Batwoman yours, lol. I think you, Mauler, and Heel vs. Babyface are the only people keeping this show on the air. Keep being awesome. Oh, thank you very much. I hope you all get together during the finale. It would really be the biggest fan watch of the show. We did kind of a season 1 roundup. After season 1, we all of us got together. And Jay Longbone was there too. It was on Heel vs. Babyface's channel, where we all did a video together to kind of hash out season 1 and how awful it was. I'd love to do that again if we could all get on the same page. But thank you for watching. Oh wow, sorry about my voice. Wow. In Ultimate Universe comics, Hawkeye was a badass with guns. Well, in the Ultimate Comics, I believe his whole family got killed. Funny thing about that, I had the idea after they did that, is like, he's in such a dark place now. I mean, they could turn him into like the ultimate version of Bullseye, and it would make sense. And then they went and did that. Like, he became Ultimate Bullseye. It's very funny. And he switched from bow and arrow to guns. It all made sense. I liked that move actually. All right, I don't know how much longer my voice is going to hold out, so let's see if we can get to the bottom here. Anytime superpowers are a thing to the point where healing is a thing, I always wonder why there's anyone with physical disabilities. Yeah. Yeah, there comes a point where you can't really explain that away anymore. That's probably why Professor Xavier isn't in a wheelchair anymore in the comics. Because you've got like 10 different mutants with healing powers. And like, why is that still a thing? It's not anymore. He can walk around just fine. Again, Clint being deaf in the comics, I don't get it. How many characters do you know with healing powers? Could Doctor Strange not fix your hearing with some kind of magical something or other? It doesn't make sense to me. In the MCU, it makes sense. Once they start introducing people with healing powers, then it will not make sense anymore. I would love to donate, but money is tight. Dude, I get it, dude. It's tough for everybody. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Wally West was alive in those seasons. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was wondering a little bit earlier. It's like, isn't it about time they brought him back? Cuz he's coming back at some point. Right? Like they'll say he was in the Speed Force or something. It's like there's a reason why they keep pointing out how Artemis never really got over him dying. It's like he's coming back. You did over a season of that, of him being gone. We're in season 4 now, and she still hasn't gotten over it. It's like he's coming back at some point. It's like I don't know why they're deliberating this as long as they are, but it's gonna happen. Remember when Harley Quinn was an original character? She worked wonders. Well, yeah. Not everybody is going to be a Harley Quinn, though. More often than not, you introduce an original character and they really struggle to catch on. I mean, I don't like it, but introducing someone as a legacy character is kind of a shortcut to getting that character the attention they need to catch on with audiences. And even then it can be really hard. Like Wally West was an example of that working. He's a legacy Flash character, and people like Wally West, so that works. What's an example of it not working out so well? Miles Morales. Because people don't know Miles Morales as Spider-Man. I mean, I guess they kind of do, but his book isn't even called Spider-Man. It's called Miles Morales Spider-Man. They always got to stress that this is Miles Morales. Why? Because when people think Spider-Man, they think Peter Parker. And Just Some Guy did a video about this a little while ago. About how Miles is basically just a tokenized version of Spider-Man, and it's so obvious that now they're doing a What If series that's all about him being a tokenized version of Wolverine or Captain America or other popular characters. And he's like, hey, what if Miles just had his own superhero identity? And it's like, if they were really serious about Miles Morales as a character, that's what they would have done with him. Because any success they've had with him being a legacy Spider-Man has been middling. He's not as popular as Marvel makes him out to be. But hey, it's a creative shortcut, and with the way Marvel Comics is run these days, that's all they really care about. Thoughts on how the DCEU would have been if Snyder got to finish his Justice League trilogy? Oh, boy. I think it would have been dark as hell. If that flash forward at the end of the Snyder Cut was any indication, they were going to a dark place. There's some, like, apocalyptic future where I guess Lois was dead and Superman turned evil. So I guess they were doing injustice or something. And you got Batman dropping F-bombs and talking about how he was going to kill the Joker. He was going to effing kill the Joker, excuse me. So that arc about Batman, getting his hope back, I don't know what happened to that. I thought that was his arc in Justice League. Then they go to the future, and no, he's even more bleak and hopeless and dark and stuff. Because that's just the way Snyder views the character. And I think Snyder did an interview once upon a time where he said if he did a Batman movie, his Batman would have gotten sodomized in prison. Like, what? What? Yeah, so I'm not... If Snyder does not ever return to the DCEU, I'm not going to be losing sleep over it. He did a couple good things. I still like Man of Steel. I don't make excuses for it. I know it's not a perfect movie, but I still generally like that movie. But for the most part, I'm not a fan of Snyder's interpretation of these characters. I'm just not. So if he never finishes never finishes his Justice League trilogy, I'm not losing sleep over it. Best tactic for Marvel would have been better covering new heroes instead of focusing on replacing everyone ASAP. Well, I think I think it's a smoke if you got 'em kind of situation. I mean, if you've got a legacy character, you might as well use it, especially if the original is not going to be around forever. If Scarlet had come to the end of her contract, and when she was leaving, let's introduce Yelena. That way we can still have a Black Widow running around here. Sure, it would have been cool if Scarlet had stuck around, but if she's gone, what are your options? Now, do I think? I do think the Marvel brand is certainly strong enough to not have to do that, but I can't blame them for wanting to do it. Did you catch the net? I got one of them. There always seems to be more around here somewhere, though. Favorite film. What's my favorite movie? I don't really have one favorite. It kind of changes a lot. I have a group of favorite movies. Fight Club, the original Alien, The Incredibles. They're all in there. I don't know if I could pick just one. Is Young Justice any good with the newer season? I mean, it's not. It depends what you're looking for. It's definitely slower paced. It's definitely more mature. It's more complex. I think just the straight up adventure taking a back seat to more adult type stuff. More adult type stuff. Not in terms of like nudity or anything. No, not like that. But it's just more complicated themes. Like they're getting into like more psychological stuff. More. It's less about action and more about just I don't know. It's like murder mystery. It's like PTSD. It's like childhood trauma. That sort of thing. About Harley Quinn, my point is, it's possible to get a new original character to work. That's all. No, it is possible. It's just a lot harder. And the failures in recent years definitely outnumber the successes. I actually like Miles Morales, the character, but not as Spider-Man. I don't really know much about Miles Morales. I don't read his books. I actually do own the first couple issues where he first appears. Those might actually be worth something now. Not sure how much. But the thing about Miles is he was so transparently introduced to replace Peter Parker. And there was no reason for it. I think even Bendis realized that eventually, which is why he brought Peter Parker back in the Ultimate Comics. But yeah, this is just the mindset that Bendis has now. At some point, he got very woke and was introducing these woke versions of characters just because he thought they should exist, not for any particular reason. So he created Miles just to replace Peter. I think you're going to have a really hard time getting the majority of the fan base on board with that when that's the case. I too would like Miles to have his own superhero identity, because I am tired of all the derivative copies of heroes. You've got so many different Spider-Men, God knows how many Wolverines, I've lost count of how many symbiotes there are now. It's just all too much. I wish we could go back to the days when there was just one version of every hero, because that made everybody more unique and more special. And if you want a copy of one of those heroes, there better be a damn good reason. like Miguel O'Hara, that's an example of a different version of a character that works, because he's inspired by Spider-Man, but there's enough differences where he can stand as his own creation. Miles Morales, I don't know if I can say that. I mean, if you gotta remind people that he's Miles Morales Spider-Man on the cover of his book, there's a problem, because people think Peter Parker when they think of Spider-Man. So, I mean, if it were up to me, if I couldn't just get rid of Miles, I would have him kind of branch off and develop his own superhero identity and become his own person and not be a Spider-Man anymore. I think Mayday has a better chance than Miles, honestly. Well, she's... I think a lot of people are going to say that just because Mayday represents what could have been before One More Day happened. So people are always going to hold her up because of that. Funny thing about that, at the end of Nick Spencer's run, there was a little bit of a tease about Mayday there. I don't know if you saw that, but there was a hint that he wanted to take away Peter and MJ's marriage because he saw because of what was going to happen with Mayday in the future that would affect him some way. That was kind of interesting. Sucks that technically One More Day did still happen, though. At least we got rid of Sins Past, finally. Okay, where was I? Kevin Feige wanted to kill off the OG Avengers in place of the knockoffs. In a way, Feige is worse than Snyder. What else could he do? If the actors were coming to the end of their contracts or aging out of the parts and wanted to wrap up their runs in the MCU and didn't want to do any more movies, what options does he have? I'm not sure what you want here. Okay. I'm just glad they aren't touching Batman Beyond. Could you imagine what current Hollywood would do with Terry McGinnis? Well, they're not touching Batman Beyond yet. I'm sure they will eventually. So many freaking Flashes, Robin, Spiders, Bats, clones, Jesus. Yeah, exactly. It's too damn many. Too damn many. Into the smells better in them. Well, as I understand it, the Miles in that movie and in that game are not like the Miles in the comics at all. Am I correct in that? There's probably a reason why those changes were made. Yeah, Nick Fury was white. 616 Nick Fury is white. Ultimate Nick Fury is black. Funny thing about that, Ultimate Nick Fury's look based on Samuel L. Jackson. They even basically pointed that out. In the Ultimate Comics, there was a scene where the characters were discussing who might play them if an Ultimates movie was made about them, and Nick Fury said, look, who else is it going to be but Samuel L. Jackson? So MCU Nick Fury is based on Ultimate Nick Fury, who, ironically, was based on Samuel L. Jackson. So there's a funny kind of symmetry there. Spider-Man 2099 would be neat to see in live action. Oh, hell yeah, it would. I'd love to see a Spider-Man 2099 movie. Man, the original run of Spider-Man 2099 was a great book. And it sucks what happened to the 2099 verse when all the creators started leaving. To me, it seems more like people like the idea of Miles rather than the actual character. Agreed. A lot of people seem to think the character should exist, but in execution, it's like, can we make... They can't seem to find a way to make him interesting. Because at the end of the day, he's just coming off like a tokenized version of Peter Parker. Which is the risk you run when you don't let him have his own identity. It doesn't help that he has, basically the same powers as Peter. He's got a few different ones, but still. Anything else? All right. Nowadays, I don't touch DC and Marvel stuff. Too much stuff you have to read. Just finished Neil Gaiman's Sandman, Chef's Kiss, favorite comic ever. Yeah, that's on my list too. Something I've never gotten around to checking out. I've always wanted to, though. Very curious to see how the Netflix show is gonna turn out. I mean, Gaiman seems pretty excited about it. Some of the casting decisions are odd. Okay. Alright, you know what? That might be a good place to end things for now. I don't know how much longer my voice is going to hold out here. I'm sorry for the short notice on this one. I'm sorry we got to it so late in the week. Basically, I think it's like an hour before episode 3 drops. I'd like to continue doing these for the entire season of Hawkeye. I'm just, ideally, I will be getting to these a little earlier than a week after they go up on Disney Plus. I don't know if we'll have a regular day or night for these things, but we'll see. It depends on my schedule, which is a little screwy right now. Also, I'm gonna try to work on the Arcane and Masters of the Universe Revelation videos. It's a little bit. They are gonna be late now, so I'm trying to find a different way to examine them other than the proper review format. So those might be a little bit different. We'll see. So that's what I'm gonna be focusing on a little bit for the time being, at least until I think No Way Home is the next big thing, next big movie that comes out. So that's what I'm working on now. Guess I'm going to watch Chucky after I get done with this, and then rant about that on Twitter, I'm sure. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for the... Hold on. Not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Okay. So we're having some streaming problems. Yeah, probably a good place to end it. All right, let's wrap this up. Thank you to all our super chatters. Striker X24 with 2 super chats. Thank you very much. Mr. Zod's Fandom Zone. Thank you. Jose M. Tapia 711. I hope I got that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. Thank you very much. Yellow Lantern. Thank you for the $2. Bill Paulson. Thank you so much. Casperius. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. Thank you for the $10. Max Stone with $5. Thank you. Susan Dolan with another $5. Thank you very much. Trato Trays, thank you for the $10. James B. with $19.99 super chat. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you to all our commenters. So again, I'm sorry for the short notice. I'll try to give more of a notice in the future. But this was kind of a last minute thing. I didn't really know if I was going to be able to do this until this morning. Or like late last night, which was actually this morning. All right, thank you. I've talked enough. My voice hurts. I'm gonna go. Gonna drink a lot of water, and see how bad the Chucky finale was, and then I'll get to work on. I think Arcane will probably be the next one I do. I can't wait to talk about that one, because if you're not watching Arcane, go check it out right now. You are missing out. That show was amazing. All right, that's enough. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I will talk to you guys very soon. Peace out.